All right, today we're going to unpack a really key document, the Trump administration's Year One report on science and technology. It lays out this incredibly bold strategy for how America can lead in the technologies that are literally going to define our future. So, what's the game plan? Let's break it down.
Okay, so right out of the gate, this report is not messing around. This quote about Mars, it isn't just about space, you know? It's really framing the entire technology strategy as this huge, grand national mission, like a new frontier we have to go out and conquer. This is the big vision that's behind every single policy we're about to look at.
And right here, they boil that whole vision down into one core mission. The report's forward makes it crystal clear. Every action, every dollar invested, and every executive order is all aimed at this one central goal, making the United States the undisputed world leader in critical technologies like AI, quantum, and biotech.
First up, and this is a big one, is artificial intelligence. And they're not just talking about it as another tool. No. The report frames this as a full-on global competition, a race that the administration is saying America absolutely has to win if it wants to shape this century.
Yeah, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It really drives home that competitive angle. The message from the document is pretty clear. This is a non-negotiable objective. So, how are they planning to do it? Let's take a look at the cornerstone of their strategy.
Well, the centerpiece of the whole thing is what they're calling America's AI Action Plan. The report paints this picture of a massive whole-of-government push that pulls together more than 90 different policy actions. It's really designed to be the comprehensive roadmap for becoming number one in AI.
And that whole plan is built on these three main pillars. First off, you've got accelerating innovation. Then there's building up all the domestic infrastructure that AI needs. We're talking data centers, power grids, the whole shebang. And finally, they're focused on leading the charge in international diplomacy and security, to build alliances and protect American tech. Pretty much every initiative falls into one of these three buckets. So let's talk about that infrastructure pillar for a second. The scale of investment they're talking about is just staggering. The report points to Stargate, a $500 billion joint venture just to build a new generation of AI data centers right here in the US. This is all about creating the physical backbone for AI dominance on American soil. Of course, that backbone needs a nervous system, and that means chips. So the report really plays up this huge new investment from TSMC in Arizona as a major win. It's a strategic move to lock down the domestic semiconductor supply chain, so we're less reliant on other countries for this absolutely critical component.
And hey, the money isn't just coming from inside the US. This brings us right back to that third pillar, international diplomacy. The report details how they secured a massive $1.4 trillion commitment from the UAE, all to fuel U.S. AI infrastructure and the industries that support it, like semiconductors and energy.
You know, what really jumps out at you when you see this timeline is just the sheer speed of everything. The report emphasizes this rapid-fire series of executive actions all through 2025. You can see them clearing out old policies and launching major new ones, all designed to pave the way for this new tech strategy. And the report is really careful to connect these high-level policy moves to, real-world results. It points to events like this summit in Pennsylvania and frames it as a direct result of their policies, highlighting that over $90 billion in new energy and tech investments were announced. But as we'll see, AI is just the beginning. So moving on from AI, the report singles out a few other key battlegrounds for technological leadership, and they're all grouped together under this big banner, Industries of the Future. The message is pretty clear. The future is here. This section dives into two of them, quantum and nuclear. I love this quote. It really frames this whole push into quantum and nuclear energy as part of that classic American story of exploration and pioneering spirit. It's suggesting this is about more than just building cool tech. It's about shaping the nation's destiny. Okay, so what does this actually mean for quantum? Well, the report details a strategy that covers everything from pure research all the way to practical uses. You've got renewed funding for core science centers, DARPA looking at a utility-scale quantum computer, the Air Force testing military applications in space, and even building international alliances to make sure supply chains are secure. This slide does a really great job of showing the different game plans for these two areas. With quantum, it's all about commercialization, taking this brand new science and turning it into actual American industries. But for nuclear, it's a totally different story. It's about restoration, rebuilding a domestic industrial base that, according to the report, has gotten weaker over time. And they've got a name for this whole effort: the nuclear energy renaissance. And get this, notice how it ties directly back to AI. The plan they lay out positions a revitalized nuclear sector as the absolute powerhouse needed to feed the massive energy appetite of the AI boom, all while securing energy independence.
And to prove this isn't just a bunch of talk, the report lays out some really concrete goals with deadlines. One of the key national security targets is to have an advanced nuclear reactor up and running, powering a domestic military base by 2028.
All right, the last big technology area we're going to cover is biotechnology. And here, the whole strategy takes a turn, getting really personal with a mission to directly improve the health of American citizens. This quote really sets the tone for the administration's health plans. According to the report, this led to the creation of the Make America Healthy Again, or MAHA, Commission, which has been tasked with digging into the root causes of chronic disease.
And look at this, we're seeing it again, how all these different tech strategies are woven together. This executive order to speed up pediatric cancer research is presented as part of a much bigger initiative mentioned in the report, the Genesis mission, which is all about using American AI to supercharge all kinds of scientific discovery.
And of course, that executive order comes with some serious money behind it. The report says funding for the Childhood Cancer Data Initiative will be doubled to $100 million a year. The goal is to create this massive data resource that AI can just chew on, hoping to speed up the hunt for cures. Okay, so we've hit AI, quantum, nuclear, and biotech. But how does it all fit together? How do all these separate threads become one single strategy? Let's zoom out and look at the big picture. Well, if you go back to the foreword of the report, it lays out this grand strategy that connects all the dots. It's about championing those industries of the future we just talked about. It's about launching the Genesis mission to let AI supercharge all research and development. And it's about building a global network through technology prosperity deals and something called the Pax Silica, a coalition to create a secure chip supply chain with key allies. So, I think the big takeaway here is that this isn't just a random list of policies. It's laid out as this really comprehensive interlocking plan. The report presents a singular vision for securing American leadership, a blueprint, really, to win the 21st century. So the only question it really leaves us with is, what's next for these industries of the future?